in my clock, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols. Reaming my body, clothing no issue. Bitch, you look sick, you need a tissue. You drop a body, I just might bless you. I'm metrosexual.
Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's Wraith here, back with another video. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be going over how to win more solo games or more solo matches or whatever you want to call it in Season 10. Now, I haven't actually made a video about Season 10 and getting more wins, so I thought I'd kind of make one for you guys and help you to get more wins, more victory royales, more kills in Season 10. Now, a lot of you guys probably don't know, but basically on Twitch right now, I do stream every single day at WraithAM, and also the links in the description. And right now they're having a deal where basically to subscribe to people on Twitch, it's 50% off for all of September. So if I've ever supported you or helped you out in any way on YouTube or tips or whatever the case is, I'd really appreciate you coming out and checking my Twitch. Even if you don't want to sub, that's fine. Even coming and chatting, talking, whatever, is still really beneficial to me, and I'd really appreciate it. And also we do zone wars, stuff like that, and it's a really fun time. But yeah, that's enough for the self-promotion. Basically, let's get right into today's video. But make sure you hit that like button, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, and you guys already know it. Use creator code WraithFN in the item shop. Let's get into it. So the first thing that's really important is figuring out what you want from the game. If you're solely going for just victory royales and you want to boost your win status, or you want to get some more wins or feel more confident because you have more wins under your belts, that's fine. But then you're going to have to know that you're going to have to play a little bit more passive. You're probably not going to have to push so many people, and you're probably going to run from a lot of fights. If you're strictly going for wins, there's no point trying to get a high kill game or fighting a lot of people if you're just strictly going for wins, right? But basically, if you want to go for high kill games and wings, that's a little bit different. Then you got to pick and choose your fight and make sure that you're taking good quality fights, not ones where you're at 20 HP or it's in the storm, which I'll talk about later, or whatever the case is, right? You want to make sure you're taking really good quality fights, because if you're taking really bad ones, then it's very likely that you're going to die. And sure, you might have 11 kills, but if you're specifically going for wins, well, then you're not going to get the game, right? So it's very important to make sure you know when you're fighting and to see if it's a good fight. And if you're going for a little bit of a mix of them, you're going for like a 6, 7, 8 kill win, or even 10, 11, whatever, then yeah, you can play a little bit more aggressive. But again, just make sure that you're taking good quality fights and not bad fights that you're most likely going to lose or you're at a huge disadvantage in. So this next tip is kind of relative to taking good fights, but it's one is stay away from mechs. Don't even screw with them unless you have boogie bombs. Like, trust me, there's been so many times where I'll be at full HP and I'll just be like, you know what, like, screw this buddy in a mech, I'm going to push him, whatever the case is. Like, I feel like confident enough, I have max mats, and I'll push him and I'll deal a good amount of damage, and then I'll just get absolutely clapped by missiles, because even though they're not as powerful as they once were, they are still very overpowered as of right now. So I just recommend staying away from mechs in general. Like, if you see one, just dip. There's no point trying to fight it unless you have boogie bombs or it's super low health or whatever the case is. Now, kind of talking about, again, fighting, try your best to stay away. If you see a huge build fight and you just see someone coming down from it or whatever, someone close to it, probably not the best idea to push them, because basically, if they just got in a big build fight, yeah, they might be low on mats, but they also might still have an extra 1,000 or whatever. And if you're going to fight them, they're most likely going to be overbuilders, and they're going to fight you for 5-6 minutes. And once the fight's done, you're going to be low health and you're going to have low mats, and then it's just not a great scenario. So if you see someone overbuilding or a huge build fight, just leave them alone. Just don't get into the fight again. Unless you're going for a high kill game with a win, well then yeah, obviously you're going to have to push. But if you're just going for the win with a couple kills, then yeah, probably not the best idea to push someone who's just going to build to sky limit. Now, this next thing is basically more about rotation, where it's rotate early as possible to avoid storm fights. So basically, I've been in this scenario all the time where I'll have a high kill game, like 6, 7, 8 kills with like 35 people left or something like that, and I'll see someone in the storm and I'll be like, okay, you know what, I'm at the advantage here, I can storm hold him, I'll take a couple shots, whatever the case is, right? So I'll push in, maybe deal 90 damage to the person or whatever the case is, and I'll push towards them. Then they'll box up and they'll heal, or they'll impulse away, or whatever the case is, and then somehow I just get storm ticked all the way to 20 HP, and I use a lot of mats chasing them, or box fighting the person, or even build fighting the person. And if you don't have mobility, you're kind of in trouble, because there's been plenty of times where I've pushed someone in the storm just for an extra kill because it looked like an easy kill, and it turns out that it took way longer than I expected, even if it's like 35-40 seconds, which is pretty quick for a fight. But even then, you have to catch up and get out of the storm and make sure it doesn't deal too much damage. And then the same thing, you're probably not going to have much mats. Maybe you even got damaged a lot, so you're not going to have any shield or health, and you could get storm held. So even if you win the fight, it's not the best idea storm pushing, especially if you're going for the win, because again, you never know what can happen. They can land a snipe, they can land a headshot on you, 66 head dink, whatever the case is, right? They could waste your time, and you could even die to storm damage, right? So it's very, very important to try your best not to take storm fights, and the best way to do that is kind of like I said, is rotate as early as possible and get to the middle of the zone so you don't have to worry about it. Sure, you can still take fights in the middle of the zone or storm hold people if you're in the safe zone and they're not. That's a little bit different, but again, just try your best not to take bad fights, especially storm fights. Now this next tip is kind of a specific one, but if you can do it, you may as well, and it's basically grab a hoverboard if possible. Obviously they're not 100% spawn rate, and they kind of spawn across the map. If you guys don't know where they spawn, just look up hoverboard spawn season 10, not too bad. But yeah, basically I just recommend having one at all times if possible, because basically you can just fly around the map. You can get away from fights, you can push towards fights, you can get to next zone very, very quickly, especially if you know how to hoverboard fly. So it's just kind of that nice thing to make it so you don't have to worry about a launch pad, you don't have to worry about having impulses to dip from a fight or push towards something, or whatever the case is. Now this next one is kind of a warning and also a tip, and the first one is make sure you're aware of third parties. So try your best to finish fights as quick as possible. I've made videos about this already, but just try your best to kill the person as quick as possible by blocking them from getting a big build fight, or trying to box fight them and try and outplay them. But basically, if you're getting third partied, your chances drop down way more, because if you're getting third partied, you probably just came out from after a fight, you're probably a little bit low or not in the best scenario, or low match, or whatever the case is, right? So you don't have as big as an advantage as if you were the third party, which is my next tip, is try and make most of your fights third partying. So basically, like I just said, you never know. After a third party, the person could be extremely low. They could have low mats. Like, I don't know how many kills I get because of third parties. Probably a majority of my kills are third parties, because there's such an easy way to get two people's loot as well as an easy kill sometimes. Now obviously sometimes they're going to be at 100 with still really good mats. You never know, so just be aware of that. But I'm just letting you guys know that it is kind of a good idea to, if you want to get just a win with a couple of kills, try and make most of your fights just third party fights, because that means basically you can even get both kills sometimes. You never know, right? Now the last thing I'm going to say, and this is kind of a big tip, is dip fights if you're not comfortable. And this kind of goes back to the hoverboard, where if you have a hoverboard and you're not in a good situation, you're low health, low mat, storms coming towards you, whatever the case is, you can just dip. But again, if you are in a fight, and like I just said, if you have low mats, the storm's coming, you don't have much shield, whatever the case is, if you have a launch pad, or you have impulses, or again, like I said, a hoverboard, use it to leave. Like, you don't need to always take the fight just because you've invested a lot of mats, invested a lot of health, invested a lot of time. If people keep third partying you, or you get third partied after you're the third partied, or whatever the case is, don't feel a need to take the fight. If you're going strictly for the win, even with a couple kills, then just leave. Like, you don't need to fight the person. There's no real good reason to actually fight people if you're going strictly for wins. Like I said, if you're going for a high kill game, it's a lot different, because basically every single kill matters, and you kind of got to fight everyone, even if you're at 30 HP, even if the storm's coming, even if you have low mats. But if you're going for the win, you can play a little bit more passive, you can play a little bit more intelligently, and not worry too much about other people, because you can just literally get a one kill game and you still win it. Now I'm assuming a lot of you guys don't want a one kill game where you win the game, but if you do, again, that's fine. Then you can just basically bush camp, you can rotate early, box up, you can stay by the rift in Loot Lake or whatever it's even called now. It just switches so much. You can chill there, and then if someone pushes you, just hit the rift. Whatever the case is, that's up to you. But again, it's all up to you. This is where it's nice when you're going for wins, because you don't have to worry about kills. You don't have to worry about being super aggressive. It's just super nice because you can kind of switch up your playstyle. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash the like button. Comment what you want to see for a future video. You guys already know I read I read every comment, and I try my best to reply to every comment. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you check me out on Twitch. And you guys already know, use creator code WraithFN in the item shop. And I'll see you guys all in the next video. Have a good one, everyone, and peace.